great start to 2018. I've got an employee coming on that needs to be trained. Talked to actually a lead out in Washington who used to work for Steve Jobs, who runs a computer company that needs some marketing help. I've been running tons of ads, so getting a lot of traffic to the website. Been meeting with boutiques and talking to dance studios across North Carolina. I'm going to one client today to try and see if she wants to stay on as a client and pay a little bit of money, as well as having multiple campaigns going and trying to actually get this other investment firm off the ground to finish the last piece of the puzzle. So 2018's off to a strong start. It's just gonna be tough and I have to keep grinding. From deep in my soul. So I went and talked with a potential lead the other day here in Charlotte. The name of the store was Eliza B's, and it's this monogramming boutique in South Charlotte in Ballantyne. And I met with the owner. Her name was Amber. She was an amazing lady. She was young, actually, only 26. She was starting her own first business, which she bought from the previous owner, which is who I actually called, but happened to find out that the business had been bought out by the new owner. And so I stopped by to try and sell my marketing services. And so I went in and met with her, and there were customers in there, and the first thing I realized was that she had amazing customer service abilities. Like, people were on a first name basis with her. Everyone seemed to be happy. She was super nice. She went out of her way to make sure that the things she had monogrammed were completed to perfection before she handed them to the customers. And everything was well put together. She was super bubbly and very nice. And once all the customers had left, we decided to sit down and I showed her some social media tactics and talked to her about marketing. Because right now, they don't have a website. Her social media was fairly low in terms of numbers. Maybe about 399 on Instagram, a couple hundred on Facebook, and less than 10, I think, on Twitter. But the content was great. Her pictures had a lot of engagement on Instagram specifically. Pictures of herself with customers or of products. So those were really good. And what I wanted to talk about were a few key things we hit on while we were having our discussion. And the main thing that we talked about was whether or not she needed the website and when that fell in the pecking order of things to do. So for her, she didn't have the website. And if you don't have a website and you're a small business owner, there's a few things you got to think about. How much control do you want? That's really what it comes down to. And then on the flip side, how much money do you want to spend? So once you figure out the control and the money, you can start deciding which route to take. Do you use a template-based builder like a Wix or Weebly? Do you build it from the ground up using something like WordPress? Or do you set up an e-commerce store with something like Shopify? So those are really your main options for building a website. What I mentioned to her was, yeah, she needs a website, especially if she's trying to sell products at some point in time. So there's a lot of extra stuff that goes into that I've actually already done a video on websites, so check that out if you haven't. But then after we talked about the website stuff, we got into social media. So she asked me straight up at the end of our talk, should I really pay for marketing services? She's been in business for herself since September, so 6 months, and she didn't have much money. I told her no, that she shouldn't pay for marketing services. Here's why. I told her she needed to, first of all, figure out her website situation, learn what she needed to learn and get that set up. I could help her if she needed it. It's not a part of a service that's provided through Orion's Guard, but I could do it personally for her if she wanted to pay a little bit of money. But for social media, I told her she needed to do it herself. because I asked her schedule. I said, what's your schedule look like? And she said, well, I'm usually up at 7, and I have 2 or 3 hours before I have to be in here, so I'm just an early riser, and then I'm in from 10 till late in the afternoon, and I have some part-time workers that then come in and close up, and I go home. And so I said, there's a lot of time there. If I were you, I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, you need to know social media. So you need to post for yourself on Facebook and Instagram and learn about it yourself. And when it gets to a point where you don't have the time, or your time can be better spent elsewhere, then you need to pay for marketing services. And she appreciated the honesty that I wasn't just trying to take her money and say, yeah, you need marketing services, you need to pay me $100 a month. No, I think every business owner needs to know a little bit about social media, so you're not getting scammed by people trying to sell you services, but so that you know what's being posted and how it works. Social media is not going anywhere. You need to know how it operates. So I told her to work on it herself, figure out some things, and then at some point in time keep me in mind and to call me when she wanted some help. I mean, she could very well pay me now, $20 to $100 to do one of her accounts and build it up and then switch to another account the next month or something like that. But I think she needs to do it herself. I think business owners need to figure it out for themselves. When you need the expertise of a marketing agency, or you really don't know how to run ads effectively because your click-through rate is too high and you want to do it better and you need some consulting, or you really want to boost your numbers because you're going to do a product release in the next few months, or you want to give something away. Those are really good instances to go ahead and pay. But if you have the time and you're a business owner, do it yourself. Honestly, there's no need to pay for services if you've got the time. But if you've got the money and you don't have the time, or you don't really want to do it, then definitely pay for services. So, that's really what it comes down to.
I'm learning, this is my first venture by myself. I'm learning you kind of have to just figure stuff out as you go along.
Yeah.
And things are kind of just going to happen and you kind of just figure it out.
Yeah.